But y'all had bad blood for a while.
Real bad.
Real bad blood.
The worst blood.
There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams. And she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
Wendy Williams just did what no one expected. She walked into a federal courtroom, looked Diddy in the eyes, and dropped names that echoed like a bomb through the entertainment world. Diddy, Jay-Z, Oprah. This wasn't gossip. This was sworn testimony. What Wendy said under oath could pull the curtain back on a machine that's protected the most powerful people in entertainment for decades. And if even half of what she revealed is true, this isn't the end of an era. It's the beginning of an industry reckoning. When Wendy entered that courtroom, it wasn't some flashy celebrity appearance. It felt like a resurrection. A woman who had been mocked, silenced, blackballed, and buried by the very system she warned us about, now rising with receipts in hand. She wasn't there to entertain. She wasn't there to perform. She was there to be heard, loudly, clearly, and legally. And the moment she sat down and said, "I was never messy, I was early," everything shifted. From the very beginning, Wendy made it clear. Her warnings were never about drama. They were about danger. She pulled out emails, transcripts, and timelines, evidence that painted a disturbing picture of how Diddy allegedly used threats, influence, and silence to protect his empire. Back in the early 2000s, Wendy says, mentioning his name on air meant your phone would ring within the hour. Not with feedback, threats. She described how sponsors vanished, syndication deals collapsed, and radio execs told her flat out, "You're doing too much. You're going to get hurt." She even described being chased outside her own building by a girl group allegedly sent by Diddy. All because she called them broke on air. Hours later, they were waiting for her outside. That's not coincidence. That's coordination. And yet, Wendy never stopped. "You can threaten me, you can blacklist me, but you can't erase me," she told the court. "And now I'm under oath." But Wendy wasn't just there to talk about Diddy. She turned her attention to someone even more carefully protected, Jay-Z. And what she said sent shockwaves through the courtroom. She brought up Foxy Brown, just 15 years old when Jay-Z at 27 was allegedly everywhere with her. She pulled out lyrics from Foxy's debut album, lyrics Jay reportedly wrote himself. "Ain't no nump like the one I got. No one can me better," she read it aloud. Slowly, the courtroom went silent. Then she asked the question no one else dared to ask. Why was a grown man writing those lyrics for a child? Wendy claimed she'd heard about Jay picking Foxy up from school, sending her lavish gifts, and taking her on shopping sprees. This wasn't a label signing, she said. This was grooming. She referenced an old rumor about a tape. Jay-Z, Foxy, and Jamie Foxx. That tape was never seen again. And not long after, Foxy's home was mysteriously burglarized. Wendy said that after she brought up Jay-Z's relationships with underage girls, she was fired from her top-rated radio show. She didn't hesitate to name names. Producers, sponsors, even media execs, she says, were told to distance themselves. "They called me toxic," she said, "but I was right." And they couldn't let that spread. Then came the part no one wanted to hear, but couldn't ignore. Wendy called it what it was. Operations. Not parties. Not after parties. Rituals. She described Diddy's infamous freak-offs, now a key part of his federal indictment. She said she heard about them in the late 90s. Phones taken at the door, NDAs signed, guests assigned to rooms. This wasn't entertainment, it was control. She recounted an interview with Karen Superhead Steffens, who told her Diddy had asked for male involvement at these parties, that Diddy was paranoid, that drugs were everywhere. Wendy made sure that interview was played again and again on air, because she said the truth was too heavy to let pass, and the stories didn't stop. She spoke to men and women who went to Diddy's parties and came back shaken. Some described IV bags to recover, medical assistance on standby, and guests being told who to touch, what to wear, what to do. She said this wasn't partying, it was organized depravity. She even had a pseudonym-only list of people who confided in her, many of whose stories now match up with current testimonies from Cassie Ventura and others. That's when she dropped the line that made headlines. The baby oil. What started as a joke on air wasn't funny anymore. Over 1,000 bottles were found, just like she said. And she knew because people told her. People who had no reason to lie, just reasons to be afraid. But Wendy didn't stop there. She defended Cassie Ventura, called her a scared girl in the shadows of red carpets and music videos. She said she warned her audience about the imbalance as far back as 2008. Cassie was 19. Diddy was nearly 40. That's not love, Wendy told the court. That's leverage. She claimed Diddy tracked Cassie's phones, showed up at hotels without warning, even got staff to unlock her doors. And when Wendy spoke up, her sponsors pulled the plug. She mentioned the 2018 incident, the one that allegedly ended their relationship after Diddy forced his way into her home. People don't understand, Wendy said. When a mogul wants control, they don't need permission. Then she widened the lens. You think this is just about Diddy? She asked the jury. It's not. This is about everyone who protected him. She named names: Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey. The courtroom froze. Wendy testified that she'd once confided in Oprah about her own trauma, only to watch her abuser appear on Oprah's show while Wendy herself was being blackballed. She said industry sources warned her, "You're on the list now." Not a public list, but a real one. The one that controls access, opportunities, and narratives. And then came the evidence. Real documents. NDAs from 2007, internal hotel emails from 2015, payment records, crisis comms memos, and directives sent to media teams instructing them to bury the story and highlight Diddy's philanthropic work instead. She even presented a photo. Diddy, Tyler Perry, and a crisis PR consultant, all smiling at a gala. They were smiling, she said, while women were being paid to shut up and others destroyed for refusing to. Wendy claimed she too was offered an NDA, a TV deal, syndication, fame, if she'd just move on. She said no and lost everything. As the courtroom sat in silence, Wendy ended her testimony with calm precision. You see Diddy on trial, she said, but I see something bigger, a tower built on silence, a system protected by NDAS, party invitations, and billion-dollar handshakes. She turned to the jury one last time. Every time someone tried to speak, that tower crushed them. But now, it's cracking, one name at a time, one NDA at a time. And then she walked out, without tears, without theatrics, just the cold, powerful silence of a woman who spent 20 years telling the truth and is finally being heard.